Tupac's last words. The mystery that never died. They called him a poet of the streets, a voice for the voiceless, and a legend who lived fast, spoke truth, and died too young. Tupac Amaru Shakur, one of the most influential rappers in history. A man whose words shook the world, and whose death still haunts it. Even decades later, people still ask the same question. Who killed Tupac? And what did he say in those final moments that made this mystery never die? Tupac's story isn't just about fame or music, it's about fire. He was born into chaos, raised by revolutionaries, and carried that same rebellious spirit into his art. Every lyric he wrote was real, about struggle, injustice, survival, and truth. But with his rise came enemies, jealousy, and the dangerous world of gang rivalries in the 1990s hip-hop scene. By 1996, Tupac was at the top of his game, movies, platinum albums, and a massive fan following. But behind the fame, he was caught in a deadly war, the East Coast versus West Coast rap feud. Tupac represented the West, signed under Death Row Records, led by Suge Knight. Across the country, the notorious B.I.G. represented the East, under Bad Boy Records. What started as lyrical competition turned into real violence, fueled by pride, betrayal, and millions of dollars. Tupac believed people were after him, that he'd been set up before, and could be again. He even said in interviews, "I might not live to see tomorrow, but if I die, I'll spark the brain that changes the world." Those words would soon sound prophetic. September 7, 1996, Las Vegas. Tupac was in town for a Mike Tyson boxing match, sitting ringside with Suge Knight. After the fight, as they left the MGM Grand, Tupac got into an altercation with a man named Orlando Anderson, a known member of a rival gang. Security cameras captured Tupac throwing punches, surrounded by chaos. That moment sealed his fate. Later that night, Tupac and Suge were driving down the Las Vegas Strip in a black BMW. The city lights flashed, music played, and life seemed normal. But at 11:15 p.m., as they stopped at a red light, a white Cadillac pulled up beside them. Shots rang out, 13 bullets. 4 hit Tupac. 1 pierced his lung. The car sped away. Suge was bleeding but conscious. Tupac was slumped in his seat, gasping for air. Police arrived within minutes. An officer leaned in through the shattered window and asked, "Who did this to you?" Tupac looked at him, bleeding, struggling to speak, and whispered his final words, "F you, asterisk." Those were the last known words of Tupac Shakur, defiant, fearless, even in death. It was as if he refused to give his enemies the satisfaction of knowing they'd won. He was rushed to the University Medical Center, where he fought for his life for 6 days. Doctors performed surgeries, fans prayed outside the hospital, and the world held its breath. But on September 13, 1996, at 4:03 p.m., Tupac Shakur was pronounced dead. He was just 25 years old. Yet, even after his death, the story didn't end, it only grew darker. The police investigation went nowhere. Witnesses vanished, evidence disappeared, and no one was ever convicted. Conspiracy theories exploded. Some said it was gang retaliation, others blamed the FBI, and many believed it was an inside job. And then came the most famous theory of all, that Tupac never really died. Fans claimed he had faked his death, that he escaped to Cuba or Mexico under a new name. Dozens of sightings appeared over the years, grainy photos, mysterious recordings, and lyrics in his posthumous albums that sounded like clues. One song even said, "Expect me like you expect Jesus, I'm coming back." Was it coincidence, or confession? Even decades later, Tupac's shadow still hangs over hip-hop. He released more music after death than most artists do in a lifetime. His words still echo through generations, raw, powerful, and painfully true. He spoke about poverty, police brutality, racism, and freedom, topics that remain just as real today. Tupac once said, "I'm not saying I'm gonna change the world, but I guarantee I will spark the brain that will change the world." And maybe that's exactly what he did. Because his mystery, his message, and his courage still inspire millions. Whether he was taken by bullets or vanished by choice, one thing is certain. Tupac Shakur never truly died. His words live on, his voice still speaks, and his last words will echo forever.